Sometimes a single click on the internet can change your life forever. I'm Elle Fanning, and welcome to One Click, a documentary podcast series that investigates a lethal diet drug that has managed to reappear time and again with a trail of death behind it. Listen and follow One Click, a presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio, in association with Vespucci and Llewellyn Pictures. Available now on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Find a moment of calm at Classical WETA 90.9 FM. Available to stream now at classicalweta.org or on the Classical WETA app.
It's that time, San Diego.
Oh, what time is it? Time to kick it!
Time for Gwen and Chris to help you close out your day.
Guess I've been working so hard, I forgot what it's like to be hardly working.
Time for you to forget about who stole your lunch at work.
This is it! This is it! Right here, right now!
Time for you to lock in on sports. Featuring Tony Gwynn Jr.
Which culminated in him being placed on a non-football injury list.
Excuse me, did you say culminated?
And Chris Ello.
Bubkas. Absolutely nothing.
Don't know what Bubkas is, but...
Bubkas is nothing.
I was kind of confused.
Yeah, Bubkas... I'm sorry, Bubkas is nothing.
Gwen and Chris are on the air on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go at 6 o'clock. Happy hour to you. Gwen and Chris, Chrisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. Rolling along until 7 o'clock tonight. Final hour of the program coming up. We got some phone callers lined up. We got some PPP lined up for you. If you're not aware of what that is, it's Padres Pen Pals. A Scraby invention that actually worked, unlike the last segment.
My guy said they can't all be hits now.
Crashed and burned.
It's true. It's true.
You know what, Scraby? Don't worry. I've already forgotten the name of that last segment. So
Good.
I can remind you.
No, don't remind us. We're good.
we're not gonna go there any longer.
This is what usually just happens in my head as I'm
It had
thinking
a
about
good.
these things. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, that one was a little bit out of whack, but we gave it a shot.
We
so
did.
What are you gonna do?
There was a time that Chris and I were very tough on letting new stuff come on here. Like
the conspiracy theory one that I still haven't opened for it, we've never used.
We were really tough, but we let that one on there, and it didn't go as well as we thought it would.
Yeah, Chris and Tony told me this in the break.
Get off our show!
I forgot about that guy.
I don't know. A couple of these callers lined up might be
Fair
getting
weather, idiot!
Uh-oh. All right, be careful now. Be warned, you callers out there. If you say something that the producer doesn't like, you could get
off
at.
our show!
Who should I go to first here, Scrabe?
I think we go Bob and save Bill for the second
Ease
call.
into Bill?
Yeah, Bill's on fire
Bill
now.
came in a little hot.
Really hot.
I don't know what he's going to say yet, but we're going to find out here
All
shortly.
right, we'll go to Bob first on Gwen and Chris. Kick off our happy hour, Bob. Remember, it's the happy hour. What's going on?
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing tonight?
We're well,
Good,
Bob. How about
thanks.
yourself?
Well, I got a quick question. First for Tony. I'm just curious, and I know you'll give me hopefully an honest answer. I really like Jesse Agler, and I wanted to know what you think of him as professionally, personally, as what he does on the radio. I think he does an outstanding job. And then I also have a question for all of you. Mark Grant came up with a great suggestion today about having all spring training games or teams one time during their spring training to get the history of the team they play for, some of the players they play for, and also talk about Jackie Robinson, some of the other players that have had some influential influences on the game of baseball. And I thought that was a great idea, and I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, Bob, it's funny you brought that up. Actually, Mud talked about. Let's answer the first question first. I think the world of Jesse Agler. I do. I think he is extremely talented. I know, in terms of my own development, he's been a big help. He's always willing to help. I'm a guy who likes to ask a lot of questions, especially if I don't know and I have some doubt of what the answer is. I ask a lot of questions, and he's been, from day one since I've met Jesse, he's been a solid individual, and I have enjoyed thoroughly working with him thus far in my short tenure as the everyday color analyst. But when I was kind of the alternate, I also really enjoyed working with Jesse. He's a good dude. I really think the world of him. In terms of,
one other thing I wanted to just add is that he prepares like nobody else.
Yeah.
He's unreal. I remember seeing him in the room when I was doing the morning shows, 6 o'clock in the morning for a 2 o'clock afternoon spring training game.
Yeah,
doing his research.
That's true.
I mean, he works his butt off.
I pride myself on getting to the field early. This dude, I cannot beat him there.
No.
Like, he is there. I have to show up at about 1 o'clock, 1:30 every day for a 7 o'clock game because I had to do the show from there. He's there already most of the time. So I think the second part, Mud actually brought this up to us before the game. We talked about it. I think it's a terrific idea. You educate, you give the importance to the guys coming up through your organization of the history of the organization and what has happened and why you should be prideful, in our case, to be a Padre, right? And it should happen in all organizations. I'm not sure that it doesn't happen in all organizations. I know the Padres do a little bit of that with their young guys, but I love the idea, and I love the idea about educating them about Jackie Robinson and a lot of the other guys that came through that had major influence.
Shouldn't everybody
on his game.
in baseball making the money that they make know who Kurt Flood is?
That is exactly one of the names Mud brought up this morning.
Yeah.
Everybody in the game should have to know who Kurt Flood is.
And I guarantee you very few people
I bet you they don't. Bet you that he is the sole reason why we have free agency.
Yep.
And it was him that really
he took
had
the
to
bullet.
wear it. Yeah, he had to wear it.
He took the bullet for everybody.
And in order for the players to be where they are tonight.
Yeah.
But I think that's a terrific idea, Bob. Good phone call.
All right, Bob, nicely done. Hold your breath. Here comes Bill.
Bill, what's going on?
Bill, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Okay, first of all, let me say that I've been like an amateur umpire around San Diego since '82. I've done high school, junior college, all that kind of stuff. So if it sounds like it's a little bit biased toward umpires, I don't feel like it is, but you guys might.
I already know where you're going, Bill. Go ahead.
I can tell you, I think he learned it from Leitner, because over the years I never one time listened to a game that Leitner did where he didn't say something derogatory about umpires. Jesse, you're right, he's really, really good, but every pitch is like on the corner, but call the ball. In the box, but call the ball. And then, and Screevy told me no F-bombs. I got rid of all my F-bombs when I was listening to him rip on that poor umpire. And he talked about the rip. That was it. I lost it. Because I screamed at my radio, a robot could do your job too, Jesse. Umpires have been part of the game for over 100 years, guys.
Bill,
listen, I'm a Dodger fan. I listen to the Dodger guys. Once in a while, maybe they might say something about a bad pitch or a bad call. Jesse way overdoes it, in my opinion. Hey, and by the way, Junior, there's a great picture of you on the fence out there at Pally High.
I heard about it today. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm finally on the fence at Pally High. Good call, Bill. Listen, I can't disagree totally with you, because I think Jesse's aware that sometimes he goes a little hard on umpires, and I respect the fact that as an umpire yourself, you feel some type of way about it. I mean, if I was an umpire, I'd probably feel some type of way about it too. But I don't think I don't know that he goes overboard. I think he calls it, and we've got to remember, a lot of times we're trying to explain what's going on via radio, right? So we kind of have to set the scene. Sometimes it's necessary to point those things out. In terms of the robot umpire, Jesse and I disagree on that part in particular.
Right.
A lot. Like, I think
we've had the argument and lost.
Right. I like the fact that there's a human element to the strike zone. But I don't think it's malicious, and I think, again, you got to remember, our listeners don't have a TV screen most of the time. So we kind of have to describe things, and we can't keep saying, we want you to know like how close it was. And sometimes that means we got to call an umpire out on being. I don't try to make it a point to do it often. But Jesse's the one running the show. So, and he's the one really setting the picture for a lot of our listeners. So sometimes it's necessary. I think even he would say sometimes he brings them up more than he would like, but
you know what people need to keep in mind, Tony, to defend Jesse, and I'm going to here, is that he is watching the game on a television screen.
Right.
And guess what that television screen has on it?
A box.
A strike box.
Yeah.
So that's really the first thing that he sees, is whether a pitch is a ball or a strike.
Yep.
So when he's explaining it to the radio audience, he says, that pitch was a foot outside, but it was called a strike.
And by the way,
that doesn't necessarily mean he's arguing or complaining. He's just telling you the fact because he can see it on the screen. Once you guys are back in the stadiums, and I think at home games it's going to be different, when you're looking at it live, I don't think he's going to be having the same attention to detail as he does on the road games.
That's a very good point.
But you've got to understand what the broadcaster is looking at, which is a screen with a strike box on it. And Jesse's telling you where the pitch was in relation to that strike box because that's what he's looking at.
And you bring up another really good point. Normally at home, when we're in the we're toggling back between the screen on our left or on our right and the live action.
Yeah.
So when you're on right now, the way it's set up, when the team's on the road, we're in there watching it on TV. So it is the first and really the only thing we get to look at.
Yeah.
Whereas in the game at home, we'll toggle to the screen, but then we're tracking the ball on the field. So that detail that, where the pitch was may not be consequential in terms of how we are describing what's going on.
Agreed.
I just think I feel you, Bill, in terms of where you're coming from on that, but it's not malicious. And listen, I understand where you come from on the robot umpires, the automated strike zone. I do. But you also have to remember the one people who have agreed to this are the umpires.
I know.
Which is mind-blowing to you, right? Like, why would you agree to that?
They don't agree to anything.
But they agree to that. So I feel your frustration on that, but trust me, I don't think and remember, because we're doing these games on TV, that is something that is right in our eyesight. Like, you can't help but notice it. So I'm sure it won't be like that all season long. I really don't.
No, I don't think it will be, because when you're calling a game live, you've got other things in your view. You're looking and talking about different things and atmospheres.
Appreciate the phone call, though, Bill.
All right, thanks, Bill. We got through Bill. Whew.
Bill wasn't. I think it was good to have Bob on before.
Yeah, I think so too.
Turned the temperature down on Bill a little bit.
The temperature
down.
Because he called in, he was a little frustrated.
Yeah,
and you can kind of catch it at the end of his what he was talking to us.
Yeah,
about.
the reason I stiff-armed you, Bill, is because usually we don't. When you call in, you say, I have to take umbrage with Tony Gwynn Jr.'s broadcast partner, Jesse Agler.
You know what I first thought of when he said had to take umbrage with his partner?
He's talking about you.
That's what I figured. That's usually the partner they're talking about. So I was getting ready.
Let's hold Padres pen pals to another day.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I did promise that I would show Tony this tattoo on the air of his father and Fernando Tatis Jr. that a listener sent me. So
I like a good ink job.
Yeah. So I'll show Tony that in the next break, if that's cool with you, partner.
I don't think
you talking to Jesse?
Oh no! Oh yeah, Jesse. Sorry, he's not on right now. But yes, you, Chris. Is that cool?
Whatever.
All right.
What are we going to do in the next segment? Since you just
I'm going to show him the tattoo.
Padre pen pals.
We should do Padre pen pals.
I have an idea, but I want to run it by you guys first.
You and your ideas are 0 for 1 today.
That's why I'm running it by you first, okay?
All right, we'll talk about it in the break. You guys hang on there. Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3. The Fan. Feel the vibes on this Thursday evening as we slide our way into a Friday and into the weekend. And
I thought it was Monday. It's our first show of the week.
I know, right? Although I don't know if I'd make it the rest of the week if today was Monday. Just being honest. 6:20.
Hey, you got some good energy for already calling.
You want to turn your mic on, though?
Ah! I said, you got some good energy for already calling a baseball game today.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I was excited to get back in the studio. Remember last time we did a show, I was stuck at home because I was under the quarantine
The
protocols because I was coming back from Arizona.
Yeah.
And we haven't done a show in the same room, like in this room, since before spring training.
It's been that long.
So
at least, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, even though that game was long, I was very...
How long was today's game?
Let's go.
What do we get the official
It was
clock?
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Well, that's actually toward the quick end
Right.
of
For
the 14 games they played this year.
Yeah, 18 hits, 11 runs.
Doesn't baseball realize that they keep putting in, quote, rules
Nothing's
to
changing?
speed up the game and that the time of the game is actually getting longer?
Yeah. I don't know.
Do they understand that? Because they keep putting these stupid rules in and it's not changing anything.
Yeah. I mean, this goes all the way back to making sure you have to keep 1 foot in the box. Like,
Yeah.
None of this is working.
No.
Figure
Get
it
some
out.
pitchers that can command the strike zone, as Tony said. That'll get batters swinging the bats, and that'll get the games moving along. And until you do that, all the rest of the stuff's
by the way, it's not
going to matter.
It's not just about moving the game along. It's about having action in the game.
Exactly.
Because the reality is that when there's action, nobody cares how long the game is.
No, you're right.
But when there's no action and the game is long, it's just like,
That Dodger Padre game 2 of the playoff last year, the one that Bellinger made the catch, and it went back and forth 7 times, and everything was on the line. The whole season was hanging in the balance. I'm sure that was a 4-hour game.
It was close to
but
it.
I didn't care. And I certainly didn't care the game 2 of the St. Louis series, which was about a 3.5 hour to 4 hour game, the one where Tatis hit the home run, Machado tied it, and then Tatis and Myers both hit 2. Anyway, they won the game. That one took forever, too.
Yep.
And I know those games took forever because I was doing post-game till past midnight. But it didn't matter because it was great theater.
It was great action all day long.
Yeah.
Scraby, you wanted to show me this tattoo that...
Yes, you're already doing great radio today, so I think showing Tony a tattoo on the radio is going to be excellent. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you do this.
The only reason I'm doing this is because this person got a pretty cool tattoo.
They did.
Chris, if you want to see it, I believe it's printed in
I
the
see
6
it.
o'clock portion. It is Tanner O on Twitter, at T0SIDE9, at T0Side9. If you would like to go see the tattoo, it's on Twitter. And it's a tattoo of the infamous Fernando Tatis Jr. bat flip after he hit the home run against the was it the Dodgers last year or the Cardinals?
Cardinals,
yeah. It was the good bat flip where he stares back at the dugout. Just an awesome shot. And then you got Tony's dad right above him on the tattoo with the famous photo of him holding all of his silver bats.
That was the Hitman.
The Hitman.
Little poster.
Yeah, he's got 8 Silver Slugger bats in his hands or something like that.
He does.
So he tweeted me or tagged a bunch of us, but he tagged me and I said, you know what, I can get this in front of Tony. So Tony, you're looking at it, Chris. You're looking at it. What do you guys think? It's a good one.
I think it's awesome. It's excellent work done by whoever the young lady or gentleman or whoever did it. They did a really nice job. I've seen a couple. Actually, Damian Jackson reached out to me. He sent me one of a guy who had a half sleeve on his arm, and it was the Petco Park Stadium kind of view, and then my dad underneath it. A lot of good artists out here, man. Doing.
You know what
work.
my thought is on this tattoo?
What you got?
The guy's got a bigger calf than I do.
And you got some big calves.
You do.
And I got
think
big
that's
calves.
true, though.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true, though.
Yeah, I think he's.
You don't think it's true?
I think the ink
No.
may make it appear like
Looks
that.
bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks a little swollen from it just being done as well.
Yeah,
so.
I gotta say, I'm definitely looking to get some work done on my leg here soon.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
On your leg.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that is from at T.
Get some done for me, too.
Side 9.
I will.
want one too.
I will.
Chris,
I
you
will.
want to pay for one? I'll get one for you. They're kind of expensive. That's why I'm asking.
I already paid for you to play in our softball league, and I'm wondering about that mistake every day now.
What are you talking about? I have been,
You've been raking, he said.
I couldn't play last night, but I have been
You've only played
decent.
2 games. I mean,
Decent.
I paid for you to play in our league, and you've showed up at half the games.
By the way,
Come on, take advantage of the freebie
I
that
was
you got.
finishing up here before I went up there.
I think we've played 5 games. You've played 2. That's not a good
Come on,
percentage.
man. You got
The first one, we couldn't even go. We got a bye week.
Your best, you got to be available, man. What's going on?
I am
Your
available.
number one ability is your availability.
Where were you last night? Tough guy.
He said,
Tough guy.
Doing the post-game show, waiting for the game to end.
At least you are truthful.
There you have it.
We have Kathy. Do you guys want to take
Yeah,
Kathy?
of course we do.
Kathy.
Hey guys, it's
welcome
good
to the
hear
show.
you guys back in studio again.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
What's on your mind?
She's in Los Angeles, man.
Yay!
Yeah, what are they thinking up there, boy?
Yeah.
Now they're coming down, Kathy. I bet you can hardly wait.
Oh yeah, I'm just so excited about that. It's like my mom called me on Tuesday and she's just like, "Did the Padres play today?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "I can tell by the mood you're in how the game went."
No, yeah, that's the great thing about
it's
baseball.
like, yeah,
Every day is kind of your mood changes every day.
definitely.
Yeah.
Tony, that opening of the ceremonies today for Jackie Robinson Day, I was crying and people at work were staring at me like, "What are you crying for?" I'm like, "You guys don't even understand. That picture of you and your dad when you were born, brought tears to my eyes, dude. That was just awesome."
I appreciate that, Kathy. That was a nerve-wracking thing because, I mean, listen, for me, Jackie Robinson's a big deal. It's a huge deal in our family, and they asked me to do the intro about a minute. I was like, man, I don't want to screw this up. I really don't. So I'm glad that you like.
You hit it out of the park, man. You
Thank
did
you.
not. You did the opposite of what you were concerned about.
I'm glad I got
It
it.
wasn't even an inside the park homer, man. You got all of it.
Thank you.
One last thing, there was a movie a few years ago, I think we're talking like 80s or even in the 90s on HBO called Soul of the Game. I don't know if you guys even have ever heard of it.
Well, Chris knew about the fish who was named Wanda or whatever, so he definitely knows about this.
The fish that saved Pittsburgh.
Yes, that's it.
Try to get the name of the movie right.
Yeah,
Fish
I
named
remember that
Wanda.
game. I remember that movie. But Soul of the Game, Delroy Lindo, I think, played Satchel Paige, and it was about the time when Jackie Robinson was who they were trying to choose between all the guys in the Negro Leagues. It was an awesome movie. I really wish they would play it again. I would love to see that movie again.
Be nice if the
It's a
MLB
really good
Network
movie
had a
at that time.
catalog that actually had more than 4 movies in it, so they could play movies like that.
I think they only played Bill Durham.
Bull
Durham,
yeah.
excuse me. Major League.
The Natural.
Field of Dreams.
The Natural and Field of Dreams. That's the 4 they have in
That's
the
their whole
catalog.
library on MLB Network. Yeah, there's some really good baseball movies out there. That's one. Talking about Jackie Robinson, especially.
42.
Of course, 42
Yeah.
was a tremendous movie.
Really good one.
Young man who played him passed away this
away,
last year. Man, that was sad.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the same
Yeah.
guy.
What was his
Chase
name?
Bozeman.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together till right now.
Yeah, that was him.
I'm gonna go watch that tonight.
Sorry about that. That kind of put a downer on it.
Kind of did.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate
Thank you, Kathy.
calling. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully, the Padres will give us all reason to enjoy the weekend. That is tomorrow night, game 1 of the 3-game set. Dodgers are 10-2. Probably going to be 11-2 unless the Rockies can lend a little assistance tonight.
They don't look like they're into
They
lending
don't appear
any
like they're going to be
assistance at
lending
all.
any assistance. No. So if the Dodgers are 11-2, the Padres are 9-5. That would be a 2.5 game spread heading into the weekend. So really, I hate this, but no matter what happens, the season is not going to be over this weekend, even if they're swept. But you don't want to think that way. You want to think winning 2 out of 3, you're a game and a half back, get a leg up on the Dodgers early in the season. I think that's a good way to go into this weekend, and especially during you're facing their top 3 pitchers. I mean, it'd be nice to put a little dent in those guys. So see what happens starting tomorrow night. Padres Got some hits with runners in scoring position today, Tony. That was kind of nice. 4 hits in 12 at-bats. They actually were 3 for 5 in the first inning.
Yeah, they wasted no time.
And, that statistic has really jumped out. I know you and Jesse have talked a lot about it. I talked with Jesse about it on the pregame show yesterday. But Padres are hitting 280 this year with runners in scoring position in the games that they've won. But the games that they've lost, they're hitting 125 with runners in scoring position. So it is kind of a big deal. But I don't know how you totally control it. I mean, you just got to keep on swinging the bats, keep getting the opportunities, and eventually you're going to start getting some more runs.
Right. If they're still doing this in June, okay, then I'll have some panic. But
yeah,
they're creating opportunities right now. And today they came out and they wouldn't mess around. Single, Profar hit a bullet. He got out, and then double by Cronenworth, home run by Machado, double by Hosmer, a line out by Kim, and then a double by Tucupita Marcano.
Yeah.
Scored. I mean, they were swinging it today.
Yeah. Had some serious. What they have 4 extra base hits in the first inning.
Yeah.
So they came right out, gave Paddock a little crooked number to lean on, and Paddock made it stand up. And,
how about that? First
Padres
inning
got the win.
First inning 4 runs. Second inning 2 runs.
Right.
On Jackie Robinson Day.
4 and 2.
Yep.
Very good. Very good, Tony.
All right, let's step away. When we return, if you missed our excellent interview with Dylan Hernandez, this man keeps it real all the time. You'll get a taste of it when we come back. This is Gwen and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
All right, 6:37. Welcome back, Gwen and Chris. Appreciate you joining us. I know it's difficult today. Could have been watching the WNBA draft. Congratulations to all the young ladies that were selected today. The #1 overall pick was, as expected, Charlie Collier from the University of Texas. Yes, #1 pick.
Who did Sparks take?
The Sparks, I have the story version. I don't have the list version.
I got you.
Los Angeles took Jasmine Walker of Alabama with the 7th pick. I know the Dallas team that had the #1 pick had the #3 pick, the #4 pick, and the #7 pick. So they must have done some crazy wheeling and dealing because they had like 4 of the top 7 picks.
Well, I know they I don't think they traded Candace Parker. I think she signed as a free agent, so I don't know how they got 2 picks
I don't know how they got it all. But anyway, WNBA draft took place today. And WNBA, how about this? Congratulations to all these women who have made this thing work. 25 years now. And I was reading an article.
There was a lot of skepticism about how long they would last, too. And
they would never make it and the whole thing. And they talked about how the fact they're starting to really, make it work now. I mean, it's not just surviving anymore. It's actually, working. And there's so many people who love the league and so many people that are, benefiting from it, and all these young ladies growing up now. 25 years ago, a lot of these women drafted tonight weren't even born yet.
No, and not only that, they're down to like 15, 16 teams now. They're expanding. And the other thing I thought was pretty cool, I saw, because remember last year in the bubble, for the NBA, the ratings were way down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were up 65% for the women, and that's may not be a huge deal compared to where the NBA is, but that's a big deal for them. So kudos to the WNBA.
Season starts a month from now in the WNBA. So congratulations to everybody in the WNBA. Let's take a quick break for traffic, and then our visit with Dylan Hernandez previewing this weekend's Padre-Dodger series.
Joining us now on the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline is our guy, Dylan Hernandez of the Los Angeles Times. Dylan, always fun to catch up. How are you?
I'm excited, man. I'm going to be back on the road kind of for the first time, and I think I went to the first Raiders game in Las Vegas last year,
Yeah.
So this will be my first time getting out of L.A. County, like on a work assignment. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
So, I mean, are the Dodgers this good? I mean, they're 10-2. I understand they've played the Rockies, 7 times, but they look like they're hitting on all cylinders. I haven't watched all of the games, but they certainly seem like they're playing some good baseball right now.
Yeah, they are. I would not, sell short that Rockies angle, right? They're pretty bad, from a right, you can ask any writer this. Like, one of the things that we hate the most is like a no-hitter or a potential no-hitter. because you really can't finish writing until the end, right? And, with guys like Bauer going out there facing the Rockies, you're kind of thinking like, oh, God, like, he looks like he has no-hit stuff. And the Rockies as a lineup have no-hit stuff too, So it's like every time they play, it's like, oh God, like we gotta jump on Twitter and jinx these guys to make sure this doesn't happen, But that said, they went a week without 10 days without Mookie Betts, or maybe not 10 days, but he didn't go on the DL, but they went about a week without Mookie Betts in the lineup, right? And Cody Bellinger. The fact that here you have a guy who's just 2 years removed from an MVP. Has shoulder surgery. And, obviously with guys like Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Kemp, we've seen what happens, right, when a guy is coming off shoulder surgery. And yet it's kind of not really like a talking point, right? It wasn't a talking point in spring training because you're thinking, okay, they have Mookie Betts, they have Corey Seager. Season starts, Betts has this like little back thing. But, they got this guy, Zach McKinstry.
Where are you guys getting all these guys from?
Yeah, again, I'm guessing that it's as much as we hate all this, analytics stuff, right? They're probably looking at some data that gives them, some indication that a guy's kind of on the upward trajectory because, you go back a few years, right? Chris Taylor was nobody. Max Muncy was nobody. Yeah. And these guys are now, not just kind of every, good major league players. They're really, really, right? They're integral parts of a championship team. And, the starting pitching's really good right now. The only area where you can say, well, I'm not really sure is the bullpen. But, part of what's kind of giving them a break from that is the fact that, they have this surplus of starters. So, you go to the bullpen, sometimes they've been able to go to David Price for a couple of innings, and so the workload on the pen isn't quite as much. And really I think the way they're constructed is really kind of built for, I think, also this specific season where you're having this jump from 60 games to 162 games, right? And it's not just going to be the position players and the starting pitchers, that are going to have to, worry about obviously usage and stuff, but it's the relievers too, and just, again, the way they're set up, right. And, I think a lot with Tatis, right? I think it's kind of a prime example there. They need him back, and they need him back healthy. And there's no, two ways around that, right? Whereas with the Dodgers, hey, if Bellinger has kind of a down year, you know what? I'm guessing they could probably survive that.
Yeah, they're surviving it already. He hasn't done anything yet. He's only had 4 hits and no home runs, and yet they're rolling along. Dylan Hernandez is with he has a home run, but he lost the home run. When Justin Turner turned around and went the wrong way. That's about the only thing the Dodgers have done wrong so far. Dylan, just the fact that the LA Times is sending a writer down to San Diego makes me excited that maybe LA does think that the Padres are worthwhile. What is the honest opinion of the Padres coming from Los Angeles here at this stage early in this season?
I think it's kind of gone up and down, right? Clearly the Padres, I think, won the winter. Maybe when the Dodgers signed Bauer, it kind of, alleviated some of the concerns. Then Tatis gets hurt and the Dodgers kind of rolling around the way they are right now. I'm guessing the people up here feel pretty good about, the Dodgers' chances this year. But yeah, for sure, this is going to be kind of a, if the Dodgers go down there and, even if the Padres can manage to take 2 out of 3, I think it's going to really kind of change the conversation here. Now, the way the Dodgers are going right now, I also wouldn't be surprised either if they just kind of go down there and just curb stomp these guys and, it's a sweep and then it'll kind of feel like it's over again. I think this is, especially from the Padres standpoint, this is a really, really important series, because I think, last year it felt like, okay, this is a team kind of on the rise, but every time they kind of really stepped up to the plate to challenge the Dodgers, it seemed the Dodgers were able to kind of keep them at bay. Yeah. I think, it's psychologically, especially, this being the series in San Diego, especially, with the limited crowd base, I'm expecting for the first time, at least in my years covering, for it to be a pro Padres crowd. that Petco Park to me always felt like Dodger Stadium South, right? So, if you have all those things going for you, I really think that, they really need to take 2 out of 3 here.
Yeah, Petco Park, Qualcomm, Jack Murphy, whatever you want to call it. It's always been
Dodger Stadium South.
Dodger Stadium South when they come to town. Trevor Bauer, He's made a lot of noise prior to the season started, but really, since the season has started, this man's been about his business. He has really looked good on the mound. What's been your take on Bauer?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, you when they brought him in, you're kind of thinking, okay, do they really need this headache, right? And, let's be honest. As well as this guy's pitching, he's kind of a doofus, He's one of these guys who's not quite as clever as he thinks he is, right? The fact that, he's stealing, McGregor's, strut, whatever. Come up with your own gimmick, right? Look, I have no problem. And you guys know me. I love the bat flips. I love the celebrations and whatever. Come up, with your own shtick, right? And, and even with this kind of sticky ball, controversy that's kind of come up and, maybe Major League Baseball was leaking stuff to The Athletic about, having eyes on him in regards to that stuff. He can sit here and talk about how it's unfair. He also kind of brought that on himself, right?
He did.
By talking about this thing, and it's you talk about it, and again, to me, it's another example of the guy not quite being as clever as he thinks he is, right? When he talked about it, he thought okay, I'm being clever now, and then his spin rate just magically went up last year, right? So what do you think's going to happen? You don't, you're basically begging them to investigate you. You would think something's kind of going to happen. That said, the man can pitch. Yeah. I think that there, in LA, there were pockets of fans who were a little bit concerned about, he's right, tweeted out, fake quotes attributed to George Soros that are, pretty anti-Semitic in my opinion. He's harassed women online. He seems to be very, I don't know if you guys have seen, he's got a YouTube channel and, he kind of tries to do this thing who is it? Is it Jimmy Kimmel that does the mean tweets, whatever, with the celebrities, right? He kind of tries to do a thing like that, except it's not funny. When people attack him, he responds by saying, well, you know what? I might suck, but I'm better than you. And it's kind of all right, dude, whatever, man. So I do think there were some pockets of people that were a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, do we really need this guy on the team? Because you don't want to be conflicted when you're cheering for your team, right? He's not Mr. Sunshine by any means, but that said, the man can pitch. You got to give him that, and again, pretty much every time he's gone out there, it looks like he's kind of on his way to maybe doing something special. I wouldn't be surprised. There have been a couple times where you're thinking, man, he might throw a no-hitter today. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. So far so good, right? You perform, generally speaking, these things go okay. The question becomes, right, if things start going bad at some point, then it kind of all falls on Dave Roberts again to kind of, to manage kind of that circus situation that might erupt in the clubhouse.
Dylan Hernandez from the Los Angeles Times describing Trevor Bauer in a way that I wish I could. I've been trying to come up with all of those words for Trevor Bauer, and you just did it, hit it right on the head, Dylan. Perfect stuff. You mentioned the bullpen, and Jansen has 3 saves. I know Kniebel's got in there for a couple of saves. Is there any question mark there right now? Is Jansen kind of pitching for his job every time he goes out there? Because as you said, that seems to be kind of the only interesting thing with the Dodgers around.
Yeah, and Jansen, the last couple of times, he changed his, he became Sinatra, right? His entrance song for a long time was California Love, and almost to the point where, to me, that was just a great song, period, you know? Right. And it always kind of bothered me when they said it was Kenley's song. It's what are you talking about, right? No, that's Tupac's song, but he changed it, a couple outings ago. And I think he's, and I wrote over the winter that they should get rid of him. I wrote very early on in the season, after things kind of, I think it was in spring training, even when things were going well, I was like, hey, come on, I know it looks good right now, but we know how this is going to end. It's going to end with somebody else closing in October. And he's taking it very personally, I think. He's angry. He admitted so last night after he came in. The last couple of times he's looked great. Not this past outing, but the outing before, he hit 95. I think he was at 94 yesterday. And, so I don't know. Maybe that's kind of giving him that extra oomph. I still do wonder, though, and maybe this is kind of the thing. Maybe they kind of reconfigure the formula where I still do wonder if he can kind of go back-to-back days, right? Like, I'm very curious to see after last night, will the Dodgers say go back to him today again?
Right.
I'm not so sure about that, right? I mean, that could be, and maybe we see a situation where we have a two-headed closer situation where, they give Jansen kind of the necessary days off in between to make sure he's at his most effective. Because Knebel, I mean, here's a guy that's had arm trouble before, right? I'm guessing that they don't want to run him 70 times out there in the regular season either. So maybe that's kind of one way to do it, is to have this kind of dual closer type situation.
Real quick, last night I did watch the game, and he was screaming at somebody after he got the final out. Now I know he was screaming at you.
He was screaming at Dylan for
He
sure.
was yelling and screaming. He was cutting up a fit after the game last night. So he definitely fired him up.
I should get a bonus for inspiring the man.
Yes, I think so.
Dylan, let me ask you. Let's put aside the Padres Dodgers for now. If Shohei Ohtani is going to do this all season, there is no shot anybody can win an MVP then in an American League.
Well, is that? I mean, because I think that the pitching side of things to me is still kind of a question mark, right? The command.
But hear me out. This is my thought. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to go out and make as many starts as a regular starter, because he's putting up offensive numbers to go along with it, and more than any pitcher can possibly throw out there, and it's going to be obviously more than any he's going to have better pitching numbers than any offensive player can have. I mean, it just seems, yes, the command issue can be an issue at times, but in his first start, he was dominant. Like, he didn't, until the last inning that he pitched in, where he had the kind of crazy play at the plate, they weren't touching him. And if he's going to pitch like that and hit the way he has hit thus far this season, I just have a hard time seeing anybody be able to put up any numbers that can come close to that.
Yeah, and he's been really fun to watch. I think the one thing you see is that I think, like last year, even the year before, it was kind of more of a defensive type of swing. He was kind of going up there. Okay, I don't want to strike out. He's really attacking the ball now.
Yeah.
He's taking huge. I mean, he's digging in and taking some huge rips, right? If this were back in the 50s and 60s, I mean, the guy's coming out of his shoes almost. I'm guessing some pitchers would be coming inside. Hey, don't swing that hard. But the thing with him too is he doesn't have to hit the ball all that clean for it to go out. I mean, his power is just ridiculous. And you're right. I think if he kind of gets back on, right now he's got this blister problem, which has limited him to just kind of that one start. But yeah, if he kind of gets going right now, because physically, I think this is kind of the best we've seen him really since I think it was the 2016 season that he had in Japan. His last season in Japan even, he was dealing with some ankle problems. He was coming, right, he had surgery that year. The next year was his rookie year over here, right? Then it was the elbow thing, and, the knee was bothering him last year. I mean, something's always kind of been wrong. And the one thing we have to kind of remember, this guy is a great, great athlete, and I think, just because of maybe stereotypes people have in their mind, they don't necessarily associate Japanese athletes with tremendous athleticism. But this guy's combination of power, speed, arm, everything, he's as good an athlete as there is in the major leagues right now.
Well, listen, as CC Sabathia said, he might be the best player in the league right now based on what he does. So, Dylan, we got to run. We certainly appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. We'll get a chance. Well, I'll get a chance to see you at the stadium here over these next couple games. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Great job, Dylan.
No, thank you. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Dylan Hernandez, Los Angeles Times, on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Come visit us today in Carlsbad Auto Mall. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad, Fine New Road.
All right, Dylan Hernandez telling it like it is from the Los Angeles Times.
Oh, man.
I really loved how he described Trevor Bauer. I wasn't kidding. I wish I could describe him the same way. I've been unable to find those words.
Yeah, he has a way with words for sure. If you had just tuned in, you might not have even realized that he works for the Los Angeles Times.
Well, it is upon us. Dodgers-Padres, first meeting of the year. Tomorrow night, we will be on preceding that first meeting of the year, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Look for you at that time.
Let's go.
Let's go, Scraby.
Let's go.
Mr. Weathers on
Pretty
the
good
mound.
job, Scraby, except for that one segment.
Man.
It's going to be kind of a sticking point today.
People will remember that years from now.
Years
you
from
guys
now.
remember you tried to do that one?
What was it called? Overreaction or stupid segment? All right, we got to get out of here.
For Tony, Chris, good night, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.
The weather's getting warmer, and everybody wants to be outside, even your smart speaker. Crank up your favorite Odyssey stations on your Amazon Echo, Google Nest, or Apple HomePod at the pool or while you're grilling. Get your summer soundtrack from stations across the USA, from top 40 to rock, R&B to country. It's all here on Odyssey. Play your favorite station at your command, hands-free on your smart speaker. Your summer soundtrack is part of a universe of audio on Odyssey.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.